Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is a very different kind of a video. For long I was reading and I was doing some research into the study techniques because I wanted to know what is that reason, what is that extra driving force, or what is that push, what is that 1% secret which a topper has, which differentiates him or her from an average student. Okay, because I will tell you my story. I have seen a lot of students putting in equal amount of hard work, putting in equal amount of study hours. They are really motivated, right? So, I have seen an average student working even more harder than a topper. I've seen some toppers who didn't really work hard. I mean, they studied for few hours and then they ended up scoring such good result. But on the other hand, I've seen a few of my friends who are really hardworking, more hardworking than a lot of other toppers, but still they couldn't score well in a lot of exams. So I just wanted to know what is that reason, because I know this will be a common question and a lot of students must be facing this, that you are studying enormously, you have utmost patience, you are giving a lot of effort, you are spending sleepless nights, you're giving it your all, you're doing so much hard work, but at the end of the day the results are on the downside, right? So this is a very sad thing, but I want to tell you that there is a lot of other factors which play important role in the transformation from an average student to a topper. Some of the students are born toppers, right? So I'll not talk about that. I know that there are a lot of other qualities which a topper possess, and I'm not going to talk about all those qualities because they are endless. Every topper is made in a different way. So I'm not going to talk about all those things, but there are certain study techniques, there are certain things which I feel is deficient in the students. And you can try out these techniques. If you're really one of those persons who is not able to reproduce more than you think, then I think you are deficient in this kind of study techniques. And one of that study techniques which is very, very important for you to understand and implement, if you are not doing this, then believe me, you are losing out. Okay, this is the most common reason why people fail to remember, why people fail to convert it into a long-term memory, because ultimately nowadays exam is equal to memory. Right, memory is a word, but it again comes from the word concept, right? So concept has to be clear, memory has to be built properly. So both these things when come together, then only you can perform best in your exam. So it is not only the amount of hours that you put in, but it is also the amount of smart work that you do. And by a long time I was thinking, what is the meaning of smart work? Smart work का actual मतलब क्या होता है? Smart work means study techniques जो आप अपने study में implement करते हो. ठीक है, आप पढ़ रहे हो 10 घंटे, कोई और भी पढ़ रहा है 10 घंटे, but what is the difference between you and that person? You are following a proper study technique. The other person is just going through the book, just passively. Okay, that is what differentiates a topper from an average student, and this is the first step. If you are doing this and then if you are not, you are not producing results, that's different. But I'm sure if you implement this method, I'm sure 90%, 99% of the time you are gonna be in the top. Okay, why I'm saying this with so much of confidence? Because I have also seen improvement in my own study. Okay, because initially when I was starting, as some of you might be knowing my life story, I had started from the very scratch. I had a downfall. I was in a difficult situation. So once I started to grow, I implemented. Initially I was not able to reproduce, but these study techniques, when I implemented, I also saw a lot of improvement, and that is why I want to share this with you guys today. Okay, so please understand this, that there is something called as a pseudo feel. Pseudo feel का मतलब क्या होता है? Pseudo feel, pseudo realization, pseudo understanding. I'm going to talk about all these terms in this video today and make you understand the lacunae that you are having in your study preparations. Any exam you are giving for that matter. So see what happens. Our brain, it's like a game. Okay, our brain has a lot of tricks. हमारे ब्रेन जो है वो हमसे भी ज़्यादा स्मार्ट है. इट इज़ एक्चुअली outsmarting us. Brain has to be in our control. We have to make way for the brain to function. We have to give that input to the brain to function. Brain is a very good slave, okay, but you have to be the master. You have to channelize it to function in the best possible way. So let me give you an example. You are watching a video, and once you watch the video, by the end of that video, you feel कि मुझे सब समझ में आ गया है, right? You feel ना, when you watch a video, at the end of the video, you feel कि मुझे सब समझ में आ गया है. अब मैं अगर इस वाले वीडियो से मेरे को कुछ भी पूछा जाएगा, I'll be able to answer that. चाहे वो long question हो, चाहे वो short question हो, चाहे वो MCQ हो. Specifically MCQs, if I get asked MCQs, I can very well do them all correct. By the end of watching the video, you get excited. You feel I am done with this topic. मुझे सब आता है, मुझे सब समझ में आ गया है. Let me tell you, this is called as passive learning. ओके, पैसिव लर्निंग का मतलब होता है कुछ चीज जो तुम कुछ अप्लाई नहीं कर रहे हो चीज़ें अपने, तुम कोई वीडियो देख रहे हो, अगर तुम वीडियो देख रहे हो, पैसिव रीडिंग इज अ पार्ट एंड पार्सल ऑफ स्टडी एजुकेशन, सो यू हैव टू डू दैट. ओके, आई एम नॉट अगेंस्ट पैसिव लर्निंग. पैसिव लर्निंग, प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड, पैसिव लर्निंग इज द फर्स्ट स्टेप. ठीक है, आप किसी भी वीडियो को देख रहे हो, उस पर आपकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग बिल्ड हो रही है. ठीक है, मैं अगर कुछ भी चीज़ें, कोई अननोन चीज़ें मैं उठाऊँ, मैं पहले उसको नहीं पढ़ सकती, मुझे नहीं आता है कुछ भी. कोई टीचर मुझे एक्सप्लेन करेगा, कोई वीडियो मैं देखूँ, तभी ना मुझे उस पर कुछ आइडिया होगा, एंड देन आई कैन मूव फॉरवर्ड एंड स्टडी. ठीक है, लेकिन मैक्सिमम स्टूडेंट्स क्या करते हैं, वीडियो देखने के बाद उनको लगता है कि गेम खत्म. आई हैव सीन द वीडियो, माई जॉब इज डन. नो माई डियर, योर जॉब इज नॉट डन. दिस इज द फर्स्ट स्टेप. When we see a video, we feel we have understood everything, and we enter that feeling called as pseudo-feel or pseudo-realization that now I will be able to answer everything. But you have not involved any active recall method. You have not involved any other active methods into that. You have just watched the video, and then the next day you're doing the MCQs or you're writing an answer. Believe me, you will not remember a lot of the content that you watched yesterday. आप एक वीडियो देखने के बाद अगर वहीं पे अपनी स्टडी को फिनिश कर रहे हो, नेक्स्ट डे, नेक्स्ट डे, इन द लॉन्ग टर्म योर मेमोरी इज नॉट फॉर्म्ड. ओके, बिकॉज योर ब्रेन हैज़ नॉट बीन एबल टू फॉर्म दोज कनेक्शंस प्रॉपरली. ब्रेन में कनेक्शंस फॉर्म करने के लिए चीज़ों को इंटरकनेक्ट करना पड़ता है, एक्टिव रिकॉल करना पड़ता है हर वो चीज़ में, स्पेशली MCQ सॉल्विंग में, क्योंकि उसमें नीटी ग्रिटी डिटेल्स you have to take into consideration, right? So if you're just watching a video and you're watching it once or let's say twice, then you are not forming any connections. Okay, but that same video, if you watch it like let's say one day after, okay, you're watching it 5 days later, and you're repeatedly watching that same video after 5 days, after 10 days, after 15 days, then you will definitely remember. But is it possible for us to watch one video every alternate 5 to 6 days? Not possible. We have humongous syllabus. कितने सारे वीडियोस है, तुम कितना वीडियो कितनी बार देखोगे? That is not the ideal way to study ना. समझ रहे हो मैं क्या बोलने की कोशिश कर रही हूँ? तो इस पे आइडियल क्या चीज़ है? आइडियल चीज़ है तुम कुछ भी करो, तुम्हें एक्टिव रिकॉल मेथड्स अपने स्टडी में इम्प्लीमेंट करना है तो करना है. And active recall is not that difficult. I'll give you various degrees of active recall. कुछ तो मतलब even if you apply 1%, that's also beneficial. Okay, so what you have to do? You have, the first step is obviously going to be video, and that's an important step. Passive reading को कभी भी ignore मत करना. Passive reading बहुत important है, लेकिन passive reading alone is very weak. That will give you an average position. It will give you a position. You will be able to crack the exam, but that will give you a very average position, an average score. If you want to, skip yourself from here, if you want to uplift yourself from here to here, then you have to implement active methods into your preparation. अब active methods क्या होते हैं? Active methods means once you watch the video, your passive method is done, you have understood the video. लेकिन आप कितना उसको समझ पाए, उसके लिए आपको क्या करना है? There are many methods. Number one, when you are watching the video, please keep the notes open in front of you and please highlight them, please underline them, please scribble something beside that, or you take a rough page and you write something on that. Okay, let's say I am explaining to you, let's say iron deficiency anemia, जो process है, जो pathway है, क्यों होता है, जो stages है, मैं कुछ भी explain करूँ, जैसे there are 3 stages. Okay, you have a rough page in front of you, I am just explaining to you, you're listening to me, but you're just writing कि हाँ 3 stages है, this. Okay, and then if I talk about the flow chart, how that iron is absorbed and what else, you're just writing down the names of, let's say, hepcidin क्या करता है, ferroportin क्या करता है, hephaestin क्या करता है, you're just writing down the names. Okay, this is an active method. You're actually pressurizing or forcing your brain to remember things. That's how connections are being formed in your mind. You don't know what's happening inside here, right? But this is what actually happens. This is how the brain works. But if you're just listening to the video like that, passively sitting, you have no pen in your hand, you have no highlighter, you're not underlining things, you're not writing anything, then most of the times you may also like zone out, है ना? तुम्हारा दिमाग 2 मिनट्स के लिए कहीं और चला गया है, तुम्हें पता भी नहीं चलेगा कि तुम्हारा ब्रेन यहाँ पे है ही नहीं, कहीं और घूम रहा है, अचानक से वापस आ गया है. ठीक है, सो समटाइम्स यू विल फील टू स्लीपी एंड देन मे बी इट्स अ बोरिंग टॉपिक. a lot of topics nowadays are boring, so if it's a boring topic like molecular or whatever, you'll doze off to sleep. ठीक है, so but if you have that means you're wasting your time, you're wasting your effort, and most importantly you are not forming connections. तुम्हें याद बिल्कुल नहीं रहेगा. आज तुम पढ़ोगे, तुम्हें मैक्सिमम 2 to 3 days वो चीज़ याद रहेगी, कुछ चीज़ें याद रहेगी, जो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग चीज़ें वो याद रहेगी. अगर बहुत अच्छा टीचर है, बहुत अच्छे से तुमको समझाया हुआ है, हमेशा तुमको निमोनिक्स दे करके ये वो ऑलवेज ट्राइंग टू मेक यू अंडरस्टैंड, ट्राइंग टू मेक यू रिमेंबर, ऐसे भी टीचर्स हैं, राइट, who really put in a lot of effort to make you remember things. I believe that being a teacher is a great job, because you not only explain, I can give you a note and just just make you understand the things without taking the pain to make you remember those things. That is the difference between a good teacher teacher and an average teacher, right? So there are a lot of good teachers in the market who will even make you remember the things. You will remember it, but if you do not imply or or activate any of your active recall processes in your brain, then you will forget it after a few days. That's what I'm saying. And you can't keep revising every topic every day. That's not possible. Revision is very important, but if you're actually involving the active recall methods, then the revision for you becomes easy in the long run. Are you understanding what I'm trying to convey? Okay, so my suggestion is that you're done with the video, open your book in front of you, keep highlighting, keep writing, and most importantly, even if you don't do all this, you can also, like, after you watch the video, please open your notes and give it a quick read just after you watch the video. I always remember this. I think one of my teachers in my very early days of my life had taught me this, that once you listen to a lecture, close the lecture, open your notes and just go through it. That is very fresh in your mind, and once you read that, now this entire thing has actually got inside your head, and now you won't forget that. Okay, so all the methods that I've explained to you, there are a lot of methods. As I told you can scribble, you can do rough work, you can do highlighting, you can do underlining, you can read it after that video is done, you can just go through it, or you can even make your short notes out of that video. All the points will not be equally important for you, or maybe the teacher is explaining to you in great detail. You don't need to remember everything and anything. The important things you can jot down in a small sheet of paper. That is your cheat sheet, okay, which you can revise very fast close to your exams, right? So that you can practice MCQs after you're done with the video. Practice MCQs and go back to your notes, see what was there. You made something wrong, go back to that, and then again come back to it, again you go back to that. That's how you form connections. That's how your brain will be recognizing every topic. और आपको रिवीजन के टाइम पे बहुत आसान फील होगा. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि मैंने तो इस टॉपिक को देखा ही नहीं, मुझे तो कुछ समझ में ही नहीं आया. ऐसा नहीं होगा. You'll be having a good, you'll be enjoying your study basically if you do it in this process. Okay, so that's why I always tell you that active recall method को implement करो, because these forms the basis of your revision. ठीक है, रिविजन उतना ही आसान होगा. Like for any exam to crack, what is that one word which is very, very hyped about? It is revision. If you ask me, the secret to success, it is revision. The secret to become a topper is revision. But that we have to find ways to make the revision beneficial and useful and easy for us. So for that, starting से ही अगर आप इस methods को implement करोगे, then revision becomes easy for you. Revision आपको ऐसे ही in the blink of an eye you'll be revising. और जितना revision में आपको आसानी होगी, उतना चीज़ें मतलब आपके दिमाग में फिर चीज़ें सब कुछ सेट है, तभी आप इजी रिवाइज कर सकते हो. सब कुछ आपके दिमाग में, आपके नोट्स में सब कुछ अरेंज्ड है. नाउ व्हेन यू आर रिवाइजिंग, इट इज इजी फॉर यू. देन द मोर नंबर ऑफ टाइम्स यू कैन रिवाइज. व्हाई कैन द टॉपर्स रिवाइज सो फास्ट? बिकॉज दे हैव दैट ऑलरेडी बिल्ट इन देमसेल्व्स. नाउ दे आर जस्ट रिवाइजिंग. ठीक है. So your performance, your output, your revision, all is based on this foundation, which is the most important part of our study techniques. There are a lot of study techniques, but this is one of the most important which you cannot just miss out on. Okay, there is another important study technique which I'll talk about, which is the 48-hour rule. Okay, that I'll talk about in a separate video. But in this video, I just wanted to focus and tell you about the importance of active recall. And if you haven't implemented the way that I've told you yet in your preparation, please do that. At least do it for 1 week and see the difference yourself. So on this note, I'll take your leave today. I'll meet you very soon in my next video. You can follow me on Instagram and Telegram and Facebook, everywhere. So you can mention down in the comment section below if you want to interact with me. Any query you have regarding anything, you can mention down in the comment section. I'll meet you very soon in my next video. Till then, take care, keep studying, and thank you for watching.